Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Alright, without further ado, here you go. Patch 6.6 is probably Genshin's most controversial patch. The amount of people online raging about the microscopic amounts of primogems this patch spans from sea to shining sea. However, even in this primogem drought, I happened to stumble upon gold worth more than at least 160 primos. Where, you might ask? Did this wandering soul find such a treasure? Why? In Nicole's story quest, of course. You know, the one that gives you 10 primogems every week? That's absurd, I know. But in the grand finale of this quest, Genshin reveals that even if they never give their audience another primogem ever again, they have accomplished their goal of making a top-tier gaming experience for you to play. Now, I realize the gravity of my claim is gargantuan, but hear me out. Well, to be precise, let's hear Nicole out. This is what she says to us at the end of this month-long story quest.
Sometimes I can't help but think, if I still had the form, power, and abilities I once possessed, I'd be able to do so much more than I can right now. But I soon shake those thoughts from my head. If things were how they were before, I'd have so many more restrictions placed on me by the heavens. The thought of having that many things I can't even talk about makes it seem like a terrible trade-off.
If her words didn't justify the lack of primos this patch, let me expand on its significance for me. Perhaps in telling you how this story gave me goosebumps, you may come to appreciate it as I do. As you see in this final act, Nicole takes us to her inner sanctum, a place resembling her old home in the heavens before her exile. She says that this is the place where she does her most important work, stabilizing Teyvat. In the same way Alice stabilizes Teyvat from the borders of the firmament. And what caught my attention is her reflection on the fact that she can do her job much better if she still had her old power. But she quickly pulls back her statement, acknowledging that the power she yearns for comes with heavy restrictions placed by the heavens. And given the choice between having all of her powers with those restrictions or having her current limited form without them, her choice will always be the latter.
How would I tell stories without the freedom to say what I want?
How indeed, Nicole. So her choice, or at least concession to give up her voice and a huge portion of her power, leaves Nicole with no regrets. Because in Nicole's eyes, her ability to tell stories, which in most cases is just the history of Teyvat, is her most prized possession. Given the context of this game, it's easy to know who Nicole represents in the real world. But even if you don't, imagine with me for a second. You just graduated from college after working your butt off, not just by getting a 4.0 GPA, but by ensuring you did every extracurricular activity known to man. Then your dream company hires you and gives you a company car, a laptop, housing allowance, and a 401k on top of your big salary. You work there believing in their mission to make the world a better place. However, this company has a very specific version of what making the world a better place looks like. Because one thing you failed to account for before joining on board was the question, better for who? As it turns out, there's a very specific group of people your company serves at the expense of all others. Still, you press on, thinking, well, at least I'm still helping some people. But then, one of your co-workers was caught having an affair with a client, and instead of firing this co-worker, the owner of the company decides to fire everyone, including you. So, you turn in your company car, your laptop, housing, and give up your salary, but you get to keep your 401k and whatever savings you have set aside while working there. You're left devastated, with far less resources at your disposal than you did before. However, instead of feeling despair, you feel this sense of joy. Because for the first time in a long time, you can speak up about things that matter to you. You can even reveal to the world how bad of a workplace that company really was. And most importantly, you get to help more people now. So you end up with a lot less money and leverage, but you walked away with your skills and dignity, with enough power left to start over and carry out the mission your company purported to have been doing, which is making the world a better place. But now, you can do it more honestly and true to your own values. This applies whether you've worked for corporate, signed a bad record deal, or live somewhere where freedom of expression isn't always protected. You find a certain power in the exile, even though it left you in ruin, because just like Nicole, you understand that while they might have taken your voice, they couldn't take away your story. There are so many layers to Nicole's story, but I can't get into all of them in this video, but let me quickly highlight some of the moments that stood out to me. Number 1. Nicole understands that her exile, along with all the angels for the transgression of one angel, is bonkers. Yet somehow, she doesn't resent the heavenly principles who handed that punishment. Number 2. Nicole loves her home and wants to come back, which is why her inner sanctum is a recreation of it. Just as some people may be forced out of their homes for one reason or another, yet still hold love for the very same place where the trauma happened. Number 3. Nicole continues her original mandate for the heavenly principles, which is to guide humanity, but now she does it outside of their control and on her own terms, and she wouldn't have it any other way, regardless of what she had to lose. Number 4, I think this is one of my favorite. Nicole still proudly identifies as an angel, even though she has been cast out by her own creator. She doesn't desire to identify as any other race. Coming from an immigrant background, I know how quickly people can throw away their old identity in favor of assimilation to their new one. Some parents even deliberately don't teach their mother tongue to their children. So Nicole's disposition here is quite countercultural. This story quest really hit home for me because there are some places that can give you the institutional power you desire in exchange for your very soul. And in Nicole's case, she was born into the company. But once exiled, she had her blinders pulled back and her eyes can never unsee the truth. She chooses to live her life in dutiful pursuit of her noble purpose without resentment, operating on probably less than half of her original capacity. Yet she keeps on going. I won't tell you why I think she does this, because I think this is the part where I want you to tell me what you think. Why do you think Nicole is this way? How can she carry so many wounds and still guide humanity with a cheerful smile? Thank you so much for watching yet another video with me. I had a lot of fun making this, and it truly convinced me that Nicole is worth my primogems as well. So in her future reruns, I will try to C6 her, just as I'm planning to do with Columbina. Hoyo needs to stop making such compelling characters and giving us peanuts for primos. Otherwise, I'm going to go broke. That's it for me today. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you next time. Bye!